Hello and a warm welcome to Old Age Wisdom. Tell me, do you ever experience a full night's rest, having done everything just right, yet awaken feeling as though you have run an arduous race in your sleep? Or perhaps, when the clock strikes 2 in the afternoon, you find yourself transforming more into a comfortable sofa cushion than an active person? If so, please know you are not the only one experiencing this. Some time ago, I began to observe a peculiar and common pattern. Whether speaking with older acquaintances, browsing through senior citizen forums online, or reading comments under various videos, the same sentiment was repeatedly shared. I am constantly feeling tired, and I simply have no idea why. Initially, my assumption was that this might just be an unavoidable aspect of growing older. However, upon more thorough investigation, it became abundantly clear that there are numerous, often unrecognized, reasons why so many of our respected elders feel perpetually drained of energy. The most surprising revelation? Many of these underlying causes have very little to do with the natural aging process itself, and much more to do with factors that are seldom discussed openly. So today, we are going to explore 10 of these unexpected, frequently overlooked reasons why you might be feeling like a very sleepy individual, even in your most comfortable chat pals. And I want to assure you, this will not be another lecture merely advising you to go to bed earlier. No, this is intended as a genuine, heartfelt conversation about issues that truly resonate and affect us in our daily lives. You might find yourself chuckling in recognition, nodding along in agreement, or perhaps even exclaiming, "Oh, that is precisely describing me." Please stay with us, because together, we aim to understand these complex issues. And perhaps, just perhaps, you will begin to greet your days with a bit more vitality and a significantly clearer mind. Let us delve into it. The very first reason, you might not be consuming sufficient water, even when you firmly believe you are. I distinctly recall an elderly gentleman, whom we can call Mr. Anand, who looked me straight in the eye and confidently stated, "I drink an abundance of water. I had 1 full glass with my medicines this morning." This conversation occurred at 3:30 in the afternoon, and his glass of water was at 9 a.m. When I gently inquired, "And anything since then?" he simply shrugged and mentioned, "Well, I did have some soup for my lunch." You see, as we advance in age, our body's natural thirst signal often becomes considerably weaker, much less pronounced than it was in our younger years. By the time your brain even registers a faint suggestion for a little water, your body may have already been operating in a state of mild dehydration for several hours. This dehydration, while often subtle, is a powerful thief of your precious energy. Your blood can thicken just a little, compelling your heart to pump with more effort. Your brain, too, can start sending out confusing messages, manifesting as muddled thinking, uncharacteristic irritability, or that profoundly heavy-lidded sensation that makes you nod off mid-sentence. I read an account on an online forum where a lady shared her mother's experience of falling asleep unexpectedly throughout the day. The family was naturally concerned, fearing something serious like early dementia. It turned out, much to their relief, that she was simply mildly yet consistently dehydrated. Once they encouraged her to sip water regularly during the day, the transformation was like night and day. She was alert and present again. We at Old Age Wisdom are dedicated to sharing such practical insights. So if this is helpful, please do consider liking this video and subscribing. Many seniors understandably avoid drinking too much water because they do not want the inconvenience of frequent bathroom visits. I completely understand. Nobody wishes to live in a state of constant bladder-related anxiety. But proper hydration does not mean chugging a large bottle all at once. It means taking small, steady sips throughout your entire day. Keeping these tips coming is our goal at Old Age Wisdom. So another small request to like or subscribe if you find value. Keep a glass of water nearby as a trusted companion. Add a slice of nimbu, a few pudina leaves, or even a tiny splash of juice if that helps you enjoy it. Make it your special spa tonic if you like. Just ensure you sip the beneficial liquid. Your body will surely thank you, and you might just find yourself avoiding that 2 p.m. desire to nap in your recliner. Second, you might be engaging in excessive sitting, mistaking prolonged stillness for beneficial rest. Herein lies a common paradox that often confuses many individuals. You spend the majority of your day involved in very little physical activity, Yet by evening, you feel completely and utterly worn out. You might be settled in your favorite armchair, perhaps idly flipping through television channels, scrolling through updates on your phone, or simply observing the birds outside your window. All these activities sound quite relaxing, do they not? But by the time dinner approaches, you feel as though you have completed a marathon, and not in a triumphant, energetic way, but more like you have been through an ordeal. This very point was raised in a comment by a retired schoolteacher who said, "I remain seated for most of the day, and yet, I am still completely drained of all energy by 5 p.m. How does that even make sense? It actually makes perfect sense, because simple stillness is not synonymous with true, rejuvenating rest. Rest is meant to renew and revitalize you. Stillness, particularly when it extends for too long, begins to create a heavy, burdensome feeling. When you cease moving for extended stretches of time, your blood circulation inevitably slows down, your muscles can become stiff and gradually weaker, and your joints might feel as though they have rusted solid overnight. Your body is essentially interpreting this inactivity as a signal to power down, thinking, are we initiating a shutdown sequence? Very well, I shall switch over to power-saving mode. And that sensation of deep tiredness is precisely what fatigue is, your body adapting to this lack of activity by systematically lowering your energy levels to match. The less you move, the less your body actually wants to move, creating a challenging cycle often wrapped in a very comfortable blanket. But please do not worry. This realization does not mean you are now required to transform into an exercise enthusiast or suddenly begin participating in strenuous CrossFit sessions at the age of 70. It simply indicates that your body genuinely craves and benefits from gentle, regular movement. One insightful gentleman shared his personal trick for combating this. Every hour, on the hour, he makes it a point to stand up and perform what he amusingly calls his TV commercial exercises. These consist of a few simple stretches, a couple of marches in place, and perhaps even a little dance move if he is feeling particularly sprightly. He enthusiastically reported that this simple routine provided him with more sustained energy than his morning cup of coffee. The essential trick here is to consistently remind your body that it is still needed, still active, and still in the game. Even small actions like a short walk to the mailbox, incorporating some gentle stretches while brushing your teeth, or choosing to stand up while talking on the telephone can make a difference. These seemingly minor movements keep your blood flowing adequately and send a clear message to your brain, saying, "Hey, we are still very much active and participating." So, the next time you find yourself slumped in your chair, pondering, "Why on earth am I so tired? I haven't done anything significant today," try engaging in a small, gentle activity. The purpose is not to exhaust yourself further, but rather to awaken your body and mind from the inside out. Third, you could be shouldering the burden of silent stress, and believe me, it is considerably heavier than it appears. This particular point often strikes a deep chord with many individuals, especially during significant life transitions such as after retirement, following a personal loss, or simply as life naturally becomes quieter and less demanding. Silent stress is that insidious kind that does not always announce its presence with overt physical symptoms like heart palpitations or sudden panic attacks. It is not loud, nor is it immediately obvious. Instead, it just sits there, like an oppressive weight on your chest or a persistent, low-frequency hum in the background of your awareness. And perhaps the most challenging aspect of silent stress is that you might not even consciously recognize it as stress. I recall a poignant story from a woman participating in a senior health group. She initially stated, "I am retired now. My children are grown and settled. I truly don't have anything significant to worry about. So why do I feel exhausted and perpetually tense all the time?" Then, after a thoughtful pause, she candidly admitted, "Well, I suppose I am always worrying about my health, about the prospect of being alone, about my financial resources dwindling, about my memory starting to fade." That, precisely, is the nature of silent stress. It is akin to carrying an invisible backpack laden with heavy bricks. You do not see it, your friends and family may not see it, but you acutely feel its burdensome weight with every single step you take. And the body, in its wisdom, does not differentiate between loud, acute stress and this quiet, chronic kind. it reacts in much the same way. It releases cortisol, disrupts your sleep patterns, causes your muscles to tighten, dulls your overall mood, and steadily drains your energy reserves as if someone has carelessly left all the lights on in your soul. But here is the genuinely hopeful part. You can lighten that invisible backpack. Sometimes, the simple act of acknowledging its existence is the first crucial step. Talking about your feelings with a trusted friend, family member, or a counselor can be immensely helpful. Journaling your thoughts and worries can also provide an outlet and clarity. If you are inclined, meditation or mindfulness practices can be very effective in managing stress. Or, you could try what one particularly clever woman shared online. She explained, "Every night, before I go to sleep, I write down every single worry I have on a piece of paper. I then fold the paper and firmly tell myself, that is a problem for tomorrow. Then, I place the folded paper into a shoebox." She affectionately calls this her worry vault. And, according to her, she now sleeps as soundly as a baby. Stress, in its various forms, is not always something you can completely eliminate from your life, but you absolutely can diminish its power over you. And when you succeed in doing that, you will likely be pleasantly surprised by how much lighter, freer, and more energized you begin to feel. Remember, Old Age Wisdom is here to explore these topics with you. So if you appreciate this discussion, please show your support by liking this video and subscribing to our channel. We aim to provide information that truly makes a difference in your well-being, and your engagement helps us reach more people. So, a gentle reminder to like or subscribe to Old Age Wisdom would be wonderful. Fourth, you might be consuming foods that are, unbeknownst to you, secretly depleting your energy levels. Let us be perfectly honest with ourselves. Some of the foods we turn to for comfort, the ones that feel familiar and soothing, are actually working against our vitality. You likely know the kind I am referring to. Perhaps a large, comforting bowl of sweet cereal before bedtime, a few slices of white toast generously spread with sugary jam, or maybe a soft muffin accompanying your morning tea or coffee. These items often feel harmless, do they not? They feel safe and familiar. But here is the crucial catch. A significant number of these soft, easily digestible, and often processed foods are packed full of simple carbohydrates and refined sugars. These components cause your blood sugar, and consequently your energy, to spike rapidly, only to then crash dramatically a short while later, much like a toddler experiencing the inevitable letdown after the excitement of a birthday party. One gentleman shared his personal experience of how his daily morning routine of eating 2 slices of white toast with jam and a banana would invariably lead to him napping in his recliner just an hour later, with the television still murmuring in the background. Initially, he attributed this overwhelming tiredness to the simple onset of old age. However, his astute doctor eventually pointed out that his seemingly innocuous breakfast was, in reality, a veritable sugar bomb. His blood sugar would shoot up, then plummet, and his body, along with his energy levels, would crash right alongside it. And let us not even venture into the topic of those once lauded low-fat snacks. Back in the 1990s, many of us were fervently told that dietary fat was the primary enemy of good health, and a considerable number of us never fully recovered from that pervasive misinformation. However, we now understand much better that healthy fats, such as those found in avocados, olive oil, nuts, and seeds, actually play a crucial role in helping to stabilize your energy levels throughout the day. Meanwhile, many of those low-fat crackers, rice cakes, and similar processed snacks often just leave you feeling hollow, unsatisfied, and searching for more food again within a mere 30 minutes. The truly sad part of this situation is that a lot of older adults choose these types of foods genuinely believing they are making a healthy and sensible choice. These foods are often soft on the stomach, require minimal preparation, and thus, they feel safe. But safe does not always equate to energizing. In fact, some of the most common meal patterns observed among older adults are unfortunately lacking in adequate protein, essential fiber, and beneficial healthy fats, all of which your body critically needs to maintain steady, sustained energy throughout the day. I recall reading one comment that particularly stuck with me. A woman shared, "I used to feel completely wiped out every single afternoon until I started adding a hard-boiled egg and a small handful of almonds to my lunch. I initially thought such a small change was too insignificant to matter, but I swear, I felt 10 years younger. Food is indeed fuel, but consuming the wrong kind of fuel will inevitably leave your engine sputtering and stalling. It is akin to putting fizzy soda into your car's petrol tank. It might fizz for a brief moment, but then everything will grind to a halt. So, if you find yourself eating regularly but still feeling perpetually exhausted, it might not be about how much you are eating, but rather, very critically, what you are eating. Fifth, it is possible you are not achieving genuine deep sleep, but rather just experiencing periods of light dozing. Now, this particular reason can be quite disheartening because a lot of seniors sincerely believe they sleep perfectly fine. You go to bed at a reasonable hour, you generally stay in bed for the recommended duration, and you wake up approximately 8 hours later. Yet, despite this, you feel as though you have been through a physically demanding ordeal, or perhaps hit by a truck, as the saying goes. Does this scenario sound familiar to you? That is because there exists a profound and critical difference between merely being asleep and experiencing true, restorative deep sleep. You might indeed be lying down for many hours, but if you are constantly tossing and turning, frequently waking up to use the bathroom, or just drifting in that shallow, almost dreamlike state just below full consciousness, then you are not truly reaching those vital, restorative stages of sleep that your body so desperately needs to repair and rejuvenate itself. One older gentleman participating in an online sleep forum candidly wrote, "I always sleep with the television on in my room because I simply cannot stand the silence." Well, that constant light emanating from the TV screen is essentially sending a continuous signal to his brain, saying, "Hey, stay alert. There's a show on. Something is happening." It is no wonder he was consistently waking up feeling tired. His brain effectively thought it was working the night shift. But even if your bedroom is commendably dark and quiet, other factors such as underlying anxiety, chronic pain conditions, or even poorly controlled blood sugar levels can significantly interfere with your body's ability to sink into those crucial deep stages of sleep. It is during these deep sleep phases that your cells undertake essential repair work. Your brain performs a vital detoxification process, and your energy stores are properly replenished and restored for the day ahead. I know a lady who, for many years, used to wake up as many as 5 times every single night. She had resigned herself to this pattern, simply chalking it up to the inevitable consequence of her age. Then, someone happened to suggest she try using a white noise machine and taking a magnesium supplement before bed. It sounded almost too simple to be effective, but she decided to give it a try. And, much to her astonishment and delight, for the first time in many years, she reported that she actually dreamed. She had almost forgotten what the sensation of dreaming even felt like. This illustrates that sleep is not merely about the number of hours you spend in bed. It is profoundly about the quality of that time. Deep sleep is when your body effectively presses its internal reset button. Without an adequate amount of it, you will inevitably wake up feeling as though your personal energy battery is stuck at a mere 15%, even after what seemed like a full night of charging. If you have ever woken up feeling more tired than when you went to bed, it is very likely not you. That is the problem. It is probably your sleep depth that requires attention. Sixth, you might not be dedicating nearly enough time to being outdoors. Seriously, this particular point is truly huge and often profoundly impactful. This factor is so frequently underrated that its neglect is almost criminal in terms of its effect on well-being. And yet, paradoxically, it is one of the most commonly mentioned, most enthusiastically upvoted, and most passionately defended reasons why people report feeling significantly better or markedly worse on a day-to-day basis. The simple trio of sunlight, fresh air, and a gentle breeze on your face, that is essentially it. That is the miracle cure that almost everyone forgets to mention or prioritize. You see, our bodies operate according to intricate circadian rhythms, which is a rather fancy way of saying that we all possess an internal biological clock that naturally synchronizes itself with the daily cycle of the sun. However, if you are spending the vast majority of your day indoors, under relatively dim artificial lighting or the glow of electronic screens, your brain can become quite confused. It loses its clear cues about when to release melatonin to promote sleep. It does not receive the signal for when to fire up your energy reserves for daytime activity, and as a result, your entire system can get out of whack. One gentleman shared a comment saying, I started a new habit of just sitting on my porch with a cup of tea every morning for about 15 minutes. Nothing elaborate, just ensuring I got some fresh air and natural daylight. Within a single week, I noticed I was waking up more easily and feeling generally more alive throughout the day. Our channel, Old Age Wisdom, aims to highlight such simple yet effective strategies. So if you find this information beneficial, we would be grateful if you liked this video and subscribed. Exploring these often overlooked aspects of health is our passion, and your support through a like or subscription to Old Age Wisdom helps us continue this work. And that is before we even begin to discuss the crucial role of vitamin D. A vast majority of people, especially as they age, are surprisingly deficient in this vital nutrient, and it plays an absolutely huge role in regulating energy levels, mood, immune function, and even the quality of your sleep. It is hardly surprising, then, that consistently staying cooped up indoors can leave you feeling like a rather sluggish and wilted houseplant. Beyond the physiological benefits, there is also something almost spiritual or deeply calming about spending time in nature. You tend to breathe more deeply and fully. Your thoughts often become clearer and more focused, and you begin to truly notice the intricate beauty of the world around you once more. Even an activity as simple as sitting quietly in the sun, perhaps watching the chaotic yet amusing antics of squirrels, can shift something profound within you. It gently reminds both your body and your soul that life is still vibrantly happening all around you, and that you are still an integral and valued part of it. Now, I am fully aware that not everyone has the ability or opportunity to take long walks in parks or dedicate hours to gardening. However, if you can manage to incorporate even a small amount of outdoor time into your daily rhythm, perhaps just 10 or 15 minutes, it is akin to plugging your body back into nature's own powerful and rejuvenating energy source. No Wi-Fi or complicated gadgets needed, just the simple, restorative power of the natural world. Seventh, it is highly possible that you are running low on certain vital nutrients, and you might not even be aware of it. Now, this particular reason for fatigue is especially sneaky because, let's be honest, no one typically walks around actively thinking, "Oh dear, I do believe I might be rather low on magnesium today, shouldn't I?" But the truth of the matter is, as we gracefully age, our bodies naturally become somewhat less efficient at absorbing all the necessary nutrients from the food we consume. That wonderfully healthy and balanced meal you ate with gusto when you were 40 years old might not pack quite the same nutritional punch or be as readily absorbed when you are 70. Even if your actual diet has not changed significantly over the years, your body's ability to absorb and utilize those nutrients might have diminished, and this can consequently interfere with your energy levels in ways you would likely never guess. I distinctly remember reading a comment from a gentleman who described his persistent state of fatigue as feeling like he was walking through thick mud all day, every day. He had, of course, attributed this debilitating tiredness to the inevitable process of old age. However, his concerned daughter eventually persuaded him to undergo some blood work. The results were quite revealing. It turned out he was significantly low in vitamin B12, vitamin D, and iron. Once these deficiencies were properly addressed, with a carefully chosen supplement here and a minor dietary adjustment there, he joyfully reported that he felt as though someone had finally turned the lights back on in his body. That is precisely what these essential nutrients do. Vitamin B12 is crucial for healthy nerve function and the production of red blood cells, both rather important for staying upright and alert. Vitamin D influences a wide range of bodily functions, from mood regulation to muscle strength. Magnesium plays a key role in helping your muscles relax properly, and iron is literally responsible for helping to deliver life-giving oxygen to every cell in your body. Without sufficient quantities of these vital building blocks, you are essentially trying to run your body on fumes and then wondering why your engine keeps stalling. The truly tricky part about nutrient deficiencies is that you can indeed be low in several of them simultaneously and not even have the slightest inkling. The symptoms are often quite vague and nonspecific: general fatigue, mental fogginess, a sense of weakness, which means that most people, quite understandably, just chalk these feelings up to the natural progression of aging. But very often, it is simply your body gently whispering, "Excuse me, but I seem to be out of essential fuel here." And please understand, I am certainly not suggesting that everyone needs to start taking handfuls of pills every day. However, if you have been experiencing a persistent and unexplained state of being worn out, and you have not had your nutrient levels checked by a doctor in a while, it might genuinely be time to ask for those tests. There is no need to suffer in silence when a relatively simple blood test could potentially provide some clear answers and, more importantly, lead to some serious and welcome relief from that pervasive tiredness. Eighth, it is possible you have lost your spark, that inner sense of purpose or enthusiasm, and that loss saps far more energy than you might imagine. This particular point often hits differently, because now we are not just talking about the physical state of your body. We are delving into the realm of your spirit and emotional well-being. A significant number of individuals reach a certain age or stage in life and find themselves existing in a strange and unsettling sort of limbo. The children are grown and have their own lives. The demanding career has concluded, and suddenly, there might not be a clear, compelling why that effortlessly pushes them out of bed in the morning with anticipation. You meticulously go through the daily motions. You eat your meals, you manage the household cleaning, perhaps you watch a favorite television show, but deep inside, something feels distinctly flat, muted, or uninspired. I once read a deeply insightful comment from a widower who articulated this feeling perfectly. He said, "I don't feel sad exactly. I just don't feel much of anything at all." That quiet, pervasive emptiness, that lack of vibrant feeling, is often more profoundly exhausting than a grueling 12-hour work shift. Because here is a fundamental truth. Energy is not solely physical. It is also powerfully emotional. When you have something to genuinely look forward to, even if it is something small, a cherished hobby, the companionship of a pet, a book you are passionately writing, a weekly lunch date with good friends, it inherently gives you energy. It lights a fire, a warmth, inside you. Without that essential spark, your brain and body tend to operate in a kind of low-power, standby mode. You are still functioning, certainly, but you are not truly, vibrantly alive. And that particular kind of tiredness is often much harder to shake off because it is not primarily stemming from a simple lack of sleep. It is originating from a deeper lack of meaning or engagement with life. But here is the truly uplifting and hopeful part of this. That precious spark is not gone forever. It has not been extinguished. It just needs to be patiently and intentionally relit. Sometimes, relighting it involves rediscovering music that you used to love and that once moved you deeply. Sometimes, it is about finding purpose through volunteering your time and skills to a cause you believe in. Other times, it might be the simple joy of learning something new, no matter how small, or even just the satisfaction of growing a humble tomato plant on your patio and checking on its progress with the same care and attention you might give to a grandchild. One woman shared her inspiring story. "I started painting again," she said, "for the very first time since the 1980s. My hands are definitely slower now, and my eyes aren't as sharp as they once were. But oh, I feel like me again." That feeling, right there, that sense of reconnecting with an authentic part of yourself, that is your spark. And when you manage to find it and nurture it once more, you will likely be truly amazed at how your physical energy levels naturally follow suit and begin to rise. Ninth, there is a possibility that you are overmedicated or that some of the medications you are taking are not interacting well with each other. The notorious bag of meds problem. This situation is so incredibly common among seniors that some joke, rather ruefully, that they do not actually need breakfast anymore. They just swallow a veritable buffet of pills and call that their first meal of the day. But all joking aside, this is a genuinely serious issue that warrants careful attention. As we age, we often tend to collect medications almost like souvenirs from various doctor visits. There might be one pill for managing blood pressure, another for controlling cholesterol, perhaps one to aid with sleep, and then, quite commonly, another one prescribed to manage the side effects caused by the first three. Before you even realize it, you might have a small pharmacy residing in your bathroom cabinet. And it is crucial to remember that each and every one of those medications comes with its own distinct list of potential side effects. Now, multiply that potential for side effects by 5, or even more, and it is really no wonder at all that you might be feeling tired all the time. One gentleman on an online forum wrote, "I had no idea that I was actually taking two medications that were essentially canceling each other out. One made me feel sleepy and lethargic, while the other one wired me up and made me feel agitated. I spent months feeling as though I was constantly hungover, but without the dubious pleasure of a fun night beforehand. What is often worse, and more insidious, is that many medications can interact with each other in very subtle ways. Ways that your doctor might not immediately catch unless you specifically sit down and go over your entire medication list with them in meticulous detail. One medication might subtly interfere with your body's sodium balance, while another might inadvertently block the absorption of essential vitamin B12. Some medications designed to lower blood pressure might do their job a little too well, leaving you feeling dizzy, lightheaded, and perpetually drained. I knew someone who underwent a full, comprehensive medication review, not with her doctor, but specifically with a pharmacist. It was through this detailed review that she discovered 2 of her prescribed medications were actually working directly against each other, essentially negating some of their intended benefits and possibly contributing to her fatigue. Once her dosages were carefully adjusted and one unnecessary medication was discontinued, she joyfully exclaimed, "I felt like my old self again. I didn't even realize how foggy and out of sorts I had been until that fog finally lifted." So, if you are consistently feeling tired and you are currently taking a number of different medications, please do not just passively accept this state of fatigue as a normal or inevitable part of aging. It is perfectly reasonable to ask your doctor for a full medication review. Or, even better, consider bringing a qualified pharmacist into the loop. Pharmacists live and breathe this stuff. Pharmacology is their specialty, and they can often spot potential problems, interactions, or redundancies that others might miss. Regaining your energy is not just about adding beneficial things into your life. It is also, very importantly, about identifying and removing the things that are unnecessarily weighing you down and draining your vitality. 10th, and finally, you might just be in need of more joy in your life. Yes, really. Now, I understand that this might sound a little soft, perhaps even a touch cheesy or overly sentimental, but please hang with me on this one, because I have seen its profound positive impact far too many times to simply ignore it. Joy, in its purest form, is an energy source all on its own. And when genuine joy is noticeably missing from your daily existence, you will inevitably feel that lack deep down in your bones, in your very spirit. One Reddit user articulated this feeling with perfect, poignant accuracy. "I feel like I'm surviving, but not truly living." That statement, right there, is the cry of a soul that is earnestly begging for more joy. And when your life inadvertently becomes a relentless cycle of routine, doctor appointments, medication schedules, endless television reruns, and never-ending household chores, it slowly, almost imperceptibly, drains the vibrant color and zest from your world. But if you manage to inject just a little bit of genuine joy back into that routine, it is like watering a plant that looked half dead and forgotten. Suddenly, it perks up, unfurls its leaves, and seems to exclaim, "Hey, I'm not done yet. There's still life in me." Joy does not have to be a grand, expensive vacation to Paris or a major, life-altering change. It can be wonderfully silly. It can be delightfully weird. It can be incredibly simple. One lady I came across in my research started learning popular TikTok dances with her grandchildren, much to their shared amusement. Another gentleman took up writing poetry, bad poetry, he self-deprecatingly admitted, but he also confessed that the process made him laugh heartily. Someone else decided to adopt an older cat from a shelter and shared, "We nap at the same time now." It's perfect. Joy provides you with something truly worthwhile to have energy for. And the most wonderfully crazy thing about joy is that even when you feel you do not have the initial energy to pursue it, engaging in joyful activities has a magical way of giving that energy back to you, often multiplied. It is not merely a reward for hard work. It is a vital fuel source in itself. If you have been feeling consistently run down, washed out, or emotionally flat and uninspired, it might not actually be your physical body that is the primary issue. It might just be your spirit gently whispering, "Can we please do something fun again soon?" So go ahead. Give yourself permission to say yes to that little thing that makes absolutely no logical sense, but brings a delightful spark to your eye. Laugh more and laugh deeply. Be a little wonderfully ridiculous from time to time. Dance in your kitchen while making tea. Paint a rock you found on a walk. Try singing your favorite old songs at the top of your lungs, even if you are off-key. Eat dessert first sometimes, just because you can. Whatever authentic joy looks like for you, make a conscious effort to invite more of it into your life. Because joy is not just about feeling good in the moment. It is fundamentally about feeling truly, vibrantly alive. And when you start to feel genuinely alive again, that persistent, wearying tiredness often begins to simply melt away. So, are you feeling seen yet? I know we have just covered a substantial amount of information. Potential nutrient gaps, the problem of shallow sleep, the weight of emotional burnout, those surprise sugar crashes after certain meals, the complexities of medication overload, and yes, even that joy shortage that nobody ever seems to warn you about as you get older. But here is the genuinely good news in all of this. None of these issues represent a life sentence. Most of the things that are quietly and insidiously draining your precious energy are, in fact, fixable. They are not necessarily fixable with magic pills or by suddenly adopting punishing 5 a.m. boot camp exercise routines, but rather with small, thoughtful, and consistent changes. Perhaps it is a bit more daily exposure to sunlight, or choosing a more balanced and nutritious breakfast. Maybe it is about consciously saying yes to something fun and engaging again, or learning to ask your doctor the right kinds of questions instead of just passively going with the flow and accepting fatigue as inevitable. The empowering truth is that being tired all the time does not have to be your new, unchangeable normal. You absolutely deserve better than that. You deserve to wake up each morning feeling genuinely alive and engaged with your day, not just merely functioning, but truly flourishing. And please, trust me on this. Your inner spark, that unique light within you, is not gone. It is simply waiting patiently for you to notice it again, to fan its embers back into a warm and welcoming glow. So, if any of these points we have discussed today have struck a chord with you, if they have hit home in some way, please take it as a gentle, encouraging nudge from the universe. Try implementing one small change this week. Just one single thing. See how it feels. Observe any shifts, no matter how minor, in your energy or mood, and allow that positive energy to slowly but surely come back into your life, one good day at a time. If this discussion has been helpful or provided you with some food for thought, kindly give this video a like, subscribe to our channel Old Age Wisdom for more content like this, and perhaps even consider sharing it with someone you know who has also been feeling stuck in that persistent and debilitating fog of tiredness. We are all figuring out this journey of life, especially in our later years, together. And the more we talk openly about these common challenges, the better we collectively become at not just living long, but living well. Take excellent care of yourselves. Do try to get outside if you can, even for a little while. And please, whatever you do, don't forget to laugh a little each day. You have most certainly earned it. We look forward to seeing you next time here on Old Age Wisdom.